Welcome to the Vale
Matters
podcast, brought to you by Evesham Noticeboard Group.
We will explore topics from local politics and economy to education and events dedicated to Evesham, Pershore and Broadway.
We will also feature stories from everyday people to learn about their experiences and get a better understanding of how our community is changing.
So join us.
Let's talk about the things that matter in the Vale.
So hello Evesham, and to our followers and subscribers who listen. This is just to say, before you listen to this podcast, there is a little bit of a trigger warning here, or alert. Maybe there's an inspiration alert or a support, but this podcast will be touching on a sensitive topic, is mental health. And we'll be talking about OCD to addiction. And we are extremely grateful to have this important conversation here today with two local Evesham people who care enough to share with us all about the mental health matters in the Vale. So I'm going to introduce Chris Groves and Carl Hotchkins. And I think some of us know them on Facebook and see the farm shop, and Kyle through his social media posts and Santa work as well. So hi Chris. Hi
Hello.
Kyle.
How you doing? All right.
How's everyone?
All good. How are you?
Yes, yeah, all good. Exciting. We're at the first podcast at Wallace House, so it's good to be here, and I'm really grateful that that we can do that, and that we can do that here today. So, Chris, you're we know that you do. You've had your Hampton Farm Shop, and you've been running that for many years. How many years now?
I've been there since I was 13. I'm 43, so 30 years. It's a day or two,
Wow.
isn't it? It's a long time. Yeah.
Cool. And tell us why you're here today. Why do you want to talk to us about mental health matters?
So when I was a kid, when I was kind of, 6 or 7, I had lots of what my parents and other people called habits. I used to count a lot, tap a lot, pull faces, just do very, very strange things that could be put down to what children do and just a kid messing around, I suppose. But as I got older, these kind of compulsions, we realised that they weren't just habits. They were kind of, there was something triggering me to do them. And it was many, many years later that I was diagnosed with OCD.
Right.
Which is quite interesting. But people think of OCD in the kind of comical way of washing your hands and being very tidy, and there's a lot of jokes around it. But in reality, living with it is awful. When I didn't know what it was for many years, I felt extremely anxious all the time. I felt I had bouts of depression that came with it because I didn't know what was the matter with me. I didn't see life the same as everybody else did. It was a very strange thing. I didn't know where to turn. I spoke to lots of people, spoke to doctors, to parents, family, friends, read books, went to libraries, did everything I could to try and work out what was the matter with me. And like I say, eventually I got the diagnosis at 27, which changed my life completely, because when I knew what was the matter, I could work out how to help myself. Was put on the right medication, saw the right kind of specialists, had the right kind of therapy, managed to learn to live with it. So at 43 now, I'm married with 2 kids, and I've got a business, and life's okay, life's good. But I still suffer with OCD every second of every day. Nobody can see me at the moment, but under the counter, I'm touching my fingers in certain ways. It's bizarre. But the main point being that as a 9, 10, 11, 12, 15, 18, 20-year-old, I had nowhere to turn. I didn't know where to go. I didn't know who to talk to. I tried to find out what was the matter, but there was nobody like me. So 5 or 6 years ago, I thought, right, let's see if I can help people that are in the situation that I was as that kind of 14, 15-year-old kid, or as a young adult, or indeed as an older person that still doesn't know what's the matter. So we set up the monthly mental health meeting at Hampton Farm Shop, which is the first Tuesday of every month at 7:30, and it's free. Anybody can go. Free tea and coffee. Just come along and have a chat. And it's just a friendly, safe place that people can talk and ultimately just speak to people who have similar issues. I mean, it's very broad. The mental health spectrum is extremely broad, and people's problems everyone's are different. But just being in a room with people that also suffer is very therapeutic in itself. So yeah, that's it. I've waffled on a bit there. But...
Oh no, you haven't. I just think it's fascinating because, it's by, like you said, we couldn't see under the table there that you're fidgeting and tapping, and we couldn't see that. And I think people think anybody with with any OCD or mental health issues that they wouldn't be working, or maybe they wouldn't be running a business or being a good parent. And actually, you're testament to that you can do all those things.
Absolutely.
But with the support, do you think as well? Do you think it's key to get support, like to reach out to people?
100%. That's what changed my life. The support and the right support. It made all the difference. The other reason that I kind of went very public with my own mental health issues is being in the shop and having kind of, I know a lot of people in Evesham because of the job I do, and anybody who knows me would say I'm confident, a bit cocky, a bit loud, and everything else, and not the typical person that was suffering from an extreme mental health problem. So the point being, if I can suffer and I can tell people that I suffer, then it kind of it allows other people to be honest about their suffering and speak to other people as well. The amount of people that have said to me over the years now, I can't believe that you've got mental health problems. I'm like, well, yeah, I have, and it has certainly led to other people opening up about it, which is really good.
Yeah. I think it's. I mean, it's from what. From what I know, from what we've read online, and I think this is a national from the NHS, that it's a national statistic, which I don't like the statistics, but they're there. But it does say that there's 1 in 4 people will suffer each year with one form or another of a mental health, and that's from anxiety, depression, PTSD, OCD, addiction, and substance abuse, or ADHD. And I think it just makes me feel sad to feel that there might be people out there that feel that there's a stigma and that they can't talk about it. So what's really refreshing for Evesham and for other communities is when people like you guys stand up and say openly, this is happening to me, or this has happened to me, and it's okay, and you can talk about it. So you mentioned about with the OCD. And when we talked before the podcast about the pure O, is there another type of
Yeah, so it's really interesting. So pure O means it's pure obsession. So my diagnosis is obsession without the compulsion. So people who wash their hands, they're obsessed with cleanliness, and the compulsion is to keep washing their hands. So mine is pure O, which means it's purely obsession. So it's just the thoughts that go through my mind rather than the actions. I do little things, like I say, with my fingers and whatever, but like counting, and at times I've stayed awake for days on end because of the thoughts that are going through my head. But actually it's kind of it's not strictly true, because the obsession is the thoughts, but the compulsion is there because you ruminate and you just think and think and think, and you try and I could see something on the TV. I'm very careful about what you said about trigger warning before this episode. I know where my triggers will fall. The Jimmy Savile programme that was on, it's been on the last couple of weeks with Steve Coogan. I know that will upset me, and I'll watch it and I'll think about that. I'll think about it and think about it and think about it, and I'll try and get my head around it, which you can't. And it's just to the point that it's horrible. And actually, Puro is on the World Health Organization website. It's in the top 10 most debilitating conditions, mental and physical, that you can live with.
Wow, I didn't know about it until today. It's it's like you say, it's an obsession, isn't it? Where the thoughts control, and then the thoughts can control you. So how does the meetings that you have at the cafe, is that one of the things that you would say helps you?
Having the meetings have helped me. Yeah, that's it's kind of
Yeah.
it's become empowering for me. Kind of having other people there and thinking the fact that I've gone through and suffered what I have done over the years. It's almost worth it. In fact, it probably is worth it if I can help one other person. If somebody else can come to me and I can say, look, do you know what? Let's have a chat and make them feel better without living it and experiencing it myself. There's no way I would have been able to. But the fact that I have lived it means that I can help people, and in turn, that gives me something back because I've helped somebody, and it justifies it.
Yeah.
You see what I mean?
I think that sort of seems common with you, Kyle, as well, doesn't it? That sharing those experiences of what you've gone through and things that have affected your life. And as some people will know listening, if you're on Facebook, or then you'll see Carl Hotchkins has over the last year shared his walks, his community Sunday walks, which was for
it's obviously every Sunday at 11 o'clock I meet up there, and we have a walk, and I just make sure no one's suffering and everyone's together, and I just want everyone to be together and happy. And
and that's really apparent as well in your, where you've asked people. I think you've had like 30 people or maybe more turn up to these walks. You meet at, where do you meet, at Hampton Ferry or?
We meet 11 o'clock at Merstow Green.
At Merstow Green, yeah.
On a Sunday.
And I think it's like a passion of yours, isn't it, to share this. You don't want anyone to suffer. No, you've been affected, where you've shared posts about you've been personally affected as somebody close to you who's...
I want everyone to know it's okay not to be okay.
Yeah.
And know that you're never alone, and there's always someone out there for you.
Yeah.
And then obviously I dealt with a lot of my problems, and I just want to put it out there that you're never alone and you're not suffering in silence.
Yeah, and that it's okay. And that's really... Did you find that scary to share that at first? To be open with the public and say, look, I've not been okay? And
to start with, yes, it was. Yeah, 'cause obviously I hid away, and I used to hide a lot of my problems with alcohol.
Yeah.
And I drank for 20 years. And then obviously I woke up one Monday and thought I don't want to drink anymore, and I haven't since, and that was 496 days ago.
Wow, well done. That's awesome. And it was on a Monday you woke up and did that.
Yeah, I woke up with a hangover.
I like the way you remember the day. You would though, wouldn't you? It's
yeah,
an
and then obviously,
day.
I just keep my story out there so that no one else suffers.
Yeah, and you really do as well with your sobriety, to share those, to say to people, look, it's easy to pick up a drink sometimes, isn't it? I think that's what, it's easier to do that than to deal with the problem.
It's like keeping yourself occupied so you're not tempted to do it.
Yeah. So there was things that have that made your drinking worse. Was that the effects of losing someone through suicide, or?
Obviously I lost my friend earlier on this year, so obviously I've had to deal with that, and now I don't want anyone else to suffer, and
that's why you do the walks and people meet up. So
everyone meets.
There's lots of things that you're doing, isn't there? So you're doing the walks.
Yeah,
on
so obviously,
Sunday.
And then I've got a group on Facebook, and it's called Together Forever, Not Just Today.
Oh,
And then obviously I've got, I think there's about 400 members that we keep going every day, and so they never suffer.
And you're working around doing all this as well.
Yeah, I'm still working all the time.
And you're still working, and so you've got your walks, and you're doing your groups, and recently you've just started, this is the second year for Santa Saves Christmas.
Yeah, because obviously I realised that a lot of people in the local community were struggling. So I've put it together, and we've got presents and electric gas, and just make sure everyone's together and make the community good.
Yeah, that's amazing, because I think there's I don't know if anyone's seen it, but if you look on Facebook, you'll see, if you search for Santa Saves Christmas, then you can see some of the, and I know this is like if you're listening to this next year, in 2024, but I'm sure this is going to be something that Carl or a team are going to continue to do every year, because they've had so much success so far
so
with all the contributions.
Keep it going and make sure that none of the obviously local schools are now involved, so we're making sure that no children struggle.
So really, it's from what I'm hearing, it's like you've been affected. Things have affected your mental health, things have affected your life in the past, and still continue to. Obviously, like I saw, it doesn't go away sometimes, does it? But instead of, you've taken that and you're using it to keep you busy.
Yeah, because like when I look at things now, probably 2 years ago, if you asked me about mental health, I probably would have said that I didn't believe mental health was real. But now, obviously, I've gave up the alcohol. I look at it and then I realise I do suffer, and obviously the alcohol used to hide a lot of my problems. So now, obviously, I'm dealing with it with doing the walks and keeping together. Obviously, I'm more of a family person now. I'm making sure everybody's happy.
But that in turn is having a positive impact on our community. What you've done is you've turned a negative round and you've made it good. And you're inspiring people as well, because what you put out on Facebook, like I said, if people are following Carl Hotchkins, you'll see the posts that he puts out about his sobriety and about the walks as well. Yeah.
Can I just say, so I've only known Kyle for, I don't know, 3 or 4 months, and I think we become friends because of the common interest of mental health. But the posts that how he manages to come up with 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 different positive statements every single day blows my mind. And quite often I'm having a bad day and I see what he's posted, it just comes up and I think, there you go, it's going to be all right. But he's a machine coming out with these different things. I moderated a group on an OCD group for 6 months a few years ago, and I was trying to put out positive affirmations or whatever every day. I did about 2 weeks and just ran out of ideas. But how he's managed to do 6 a day for the last 2 years or whatever it is mind blowing. So well done.
I haven't slept for the last 2 weeks thinking of them.
Well, there are a lot out there, and it definitely, I think it does. I think you get a lot of likes, don't you? You get you can see it's having an impact there. And actually, living in Evesham and the Vale of Evesham, we know recently we've had, sadly, quite a few people lose their life, and some of those people, I believe, have been to addiction and to drugs. So we want to be part of that, signposting, and even if that's today, and we can give some details on that afterwards. I think, if from going from what we're seeing on, what we've seen in the UK, suicide is about 5,500 people a year have been doing that, but 1 in 15 are attempting suicide, which is really sad. And I know that's not what we want in our, and not just in our community, not just in Evesham, but anywhere. And I think the other night there was actually a person who they had to take down off Workman Bridge, because as a country, and people shouldn't feel bad. People go through things, don't they? They go through a lot. People have been through a lot with lockdown, and they've lost people, and addiction has played a part in that as well. So I think that the post that you put out, even though you might not see it, or I hope you do feel it, that you are making a change. And like, people could still be smiling, still going to work. You might think they're happy. That's true. But always check in on them. Whether it's friends, family, someone you sort of know, just ask them if they're okay. Have you felt like that? Like you were okay? Like on the surface, people just thought, oh, Carl's all right, he likes a drink, he's happy. I always thought I was okay, and then obviously I attempted my life earlier on this year, and obviously luckily the police got to me in time, but I felt at the time that I had nothing and nobody was there, but I know I'm loved, and I keep going every day now to make sure no one else suffers as well. Yeah. I'm sorry to hear that. What would you say to somebody if they're listening and this is how they feel at the moment, that's how they feel? That if anybody needs to speak, obviously you can contact me, and obviously my mobile number's about, obviously, a lot of Facebook, and there's always someone there for you. Yeah. And obviously there's different counselling groups and that where we can help get you into. It's okay, I was just making sure I was still recording then. There's a little giggle for everyone. It's the first time in our equipment. We've just gone from a really serious topic. Sorry to... I'm learning. But I think it's just important that people feel like they can talk to some. Like I said, I always, when I was growing up in the 80s, that you just felt like there was a stigma that people couldn't talk about, like being open like this. So you guys doing this means a lot. I'm just going to give out some details at Wallace House. If anybody's listening or you know somebody, because it's also for families as well, because it's not just the person suffering, it's people going through that who are beside them, who are having to, who not having to, but how, do look after them and look out for them. So on a Tuesday, every Tuesday at Wallace House, there is a Cocaine Anonymous group that meets, and that's 7 p.m. till 8 p.m. And then there is also Cranston, which is for alcohol support group. And they meet Monday to Thursdays. They don't meet, sorry. They're here at Wallace House between 9 and 5. And if you would like to make an appointment to see them, you come in and speak to any member of staff at Wallace House. And then obviously we've got Chris's monthly meeting for mental health group at Hampton Ferry, which is on
Hampton Farm Shop.
Hampton Farm Shop, sorry, not Hampton Ferry. Okay. See, the hosts are doing this great. It's not the host, the guests, it's the host that's got the problem. So Hampton Farm Shop, and that's monthly, isn't it?
Monthly, the first Tuesday of every month at 7:30. I've got a young family, so occasionally it has to be changed, but it's all over. I post it every month on our Hampton Farm Shop Facebook page. If it gets changed, it will still be a Tuesday, and it's normally the following one.
Yeah, lovely. And how many years has that one been running for? Did you say?
I was trying to work it out. It's at least 5. It could be as many as 7.
Wow. Have you been to it, Carl?
I've been to it, yeah. I go to it.
I need to go. Do we get tea and cake?
You get tea and cake and coffee, yeah. And Kyle drinks me out of coffee, so
too many lattes.
So we also are very lucky in Evesham to have Evesham District Mental Health Support as well, and their details can be found online. They're on Church Street in Evesham. If you need to get support right now, then you can also call free 24-hour helpline Samaritans on 116123, and that's 24 hours. And the charity that we were talking about, that Carl, did you do a walk for Calm, or it's the Calm Zone?
I did a race night for it, yeah, for Calm, the charity Calm.
Yeah. So
and
what do they do?
Calm obviously stands for Campaign Against Living Miserably, and like they're a national helpline then, and you can phone them up 24 hours a day. Yeah. And they were brilliant.
I think it's just nice to see, and to talk to you guys, that we're talking about something that's can be really, it's really sensitive, but you're smiling and you're positive, and, because do you find it rewarding what you're doing as well, to help people, to know that you're helping people, because you are?
I do, yeah, definitely. I find it really rewarding. Yeah, there's not many better feelings than somebody saying, "You've really helped me today." It is nice. It's not done from a place of ego, but it does.
But it does help.
Yeah, it really does. It really does, definitely.
Yeah, and I know my post might get annoying and that, but it's at the end of the week where if it stops one person and makes one person reach out, it's done its job.
Well, we're still on the subject of just before we've gone too far away from it. Can I just say something about suicide? I've never been suicidal, and I have felt at times in my life, I had a proper breakdown just before I was diagnosed at 27. I couldn't function. I didn't know what was going on. I couldn't eat. There's pictures of me as I'm nearly 18 stone now. I went down to about 11 stone. It was absolutely awful, horrendous. At no point did it cross my mind to take my life. So it just goes to show how bad I felt and didn't do it. When people do, or they're thinking about it, they feel so low. It is unbelievable. So other people have said in the past, "Oh, it's selfish. It's because they are ill, very ill, got an extreme mental health problem. So the point I want to make is, anybody who's listening to this that does feel that way, whatever you're obviously suffering from a mental health problem. It will be compounded by things that you're worried about, money worries, drug worries, alcohol worries, things that you've done, things that you're not proud of, things that you feel guilty about. But whatever you've done, however far down the bottom of the barrel you are, as Kai was saying, you're still loved. People do love you, and there is help out there, because if you've got something wrong with your heart, you can go to the doctors and you can get help. If you've got something wrong with your lungs or your liver or whatever, it's just your brain that's not working properly. So go and get help. Don't do it. Just have another day and find somebody like me or Kyle or somebody, anybody that you can talk to. It's extremely painful. It's a horrible place to be. But there is a way out, and you can get there. And please, we don't want people doing it. Just make contact with somebody and stay on this planet. And just get better, because there is help. There's always hope, and you can get there.
That's brilliant advice. Thank you. That's really good. And I'm sure anyone listening to that, even myself, just listening to that helps. You know, I know that. When I've ever had any depression or not being very in a good place, I think the thing that I try and remember is to be kind to yourself, and not to. It's easy to be hard on yourself, isn't it? And to say I'm not good enough at work, or I'm not performing as I should. Or I've made somebody unhappy, or like you say, you get to the bottom of that barrel and you think there's no way out, and actually it always works out in the end. It's just being able to take that step, whether that's a phone call, whether that's a message to Kyle on Facebook, or a trip to the Hampton Farm Shop on the Tuesday. And it doesn't matter whether what you look like, nobody cares, do they? No. Or what the problem is, or whether you talk about the problem or not. Just the fact that you reach out, because as a community we've got a lot of caring people, and we're very lucky to have you guys and to have people that care and make Evesham a better place to live. And I just hope that it does help anybody who's listening. And we'll share the links in the post as well. And we're going to give another shout out for Santa Saves Christmas, because this is a mission on cars at the moment. And
he started to grow the beard. I know.
He's starting to look like Santa.
You can't see him,
falling out in clumps already. Well, I just want to say, obviously, no one's to feel alone. I'm here for you all. Me and Chris, your family, everyone's here, and we'll all stick together.
Yeah.
Love to you all.
Yeah, that's great. Thanks, guys. Thank you, Chris.
You're very welcome.
Thank you, Kyle.
Thank you.
Thank you.